Hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt, and I love to teach leaders and professionals how to get organized in their work. And today we're going to be demoing the annual goals section of my Ultimate OneNote Hub template. I did record a video on my YouTube channel. That might be how you found this tutorial. And today I'm going to show you how to use the pieces inside the Ultimate OneNote Hub. There's going to be several other videos in the Ultimate OneNote Hub playlist, so check that out on my channel. I also wanted to let you know that I have activated membership. So if you go to my channel page and click join, you'll see there are two tiers, the organized leader and a leader systems circle. Organized leader gets you early access to new videos, priority reply to comments, members only posts and updates, and of course, loyalty badges. Then the Leader System Circle gets you access to monthly member-only live streams where I talk about behind the scenes systems. You can ask me questions and I'll post polls so that you can request future videos, things you're wondering about, whether it's like OneNote or Teams or Microsoft Loop, Outlook, etc. And of course, I will shout you out as a member. So if you're interested in that, check that out on my page. So let's dive on in. Now, many of you might have just finished up or wrapped up giving performance reviews or being reviewed on your performance for the year. That typically happens in the first few months of the year. Maybe your company does it mid-year as well, but I know for mine, it happens once a year, and we have to get all of our documents in by the end of the year. And then usually before the end of February, we get reviewed on our performance by our leader. And so I was thinking about this. And I wanted to share with you a tool that you can use to document your annual goals. And so that way, when you're reviewed on your performance, you actually have metrics to go off of, and you're also able to give yourself a rating and review for how you think you did for the year. I wanted to point out in the Ultimate OneNote Hub, under the dashboards section, there is an annual dashboard, and it's the annual self-assessment of goals and performance. And so if you are doing performance reviews right now, or you just got done with it, this is a really good tool. It's an assessment prompt that you can give to your direct reports if you have people who report to you, to let them know, like, hey, based on your goals, can you ask yourselves these questions to let me know how you think you did, right? It's to help them have a self-assessment or self-reflection. So what was the goal outcome? Did you adapt or take ownership of the goal? What did you learn? How did you grow? And what would you rate yourself? So kind of working backwards, if you know at the end of the year, you're going to have to do a self-assessment and review how you did. You want to be able to keep track of that throughout the year. So that's where, under the My Performance section, the annual goals template comes in handy. And you can see I've linked the self-assessment template here so you can go back and forth when you're doing your annual self-assessment at the end of the year. So, all right, you will see there's 5 different columns. There's the goal category, the goal name, the SMART goal phrase, the performance metrics, and the status. And of course, just like any other template in the OneNote Hub, you can customize it for whatever you feel like you need to track. Goal category is really simple. Many of your organizations are going to have specific topics or content buckets that goals are set in normally. And maybe these are around the mission, the vision, the values of the organization. So for my organization, we have one called quality and safety or patient safety. We have customer experience, people engagement, efficiency, and research and education. So that gives you kind of an idea. And of course, I work in healthcare, so they're very patient focused. Maybe you work in a different industry and you have different content buckets or goal areas that you would want to define. So we have 5 areas. So typically leaders like me will have at least 5 goals. And then maybe leaders who are at a different level might have 3 or 2. And so I would start by filling out one of these goals. Goal categories. Now you're like, okay, how do I create goals? How do I even know what to have goals on? We've been doing tutorials all on filling out the active projects list already this year. And I would say if you're stuck or not sure what goals you need to have, maybe you don't have a vision for where you want to end the year, go on your active projects list and turn your projects into goals, right? So basically what I like to say and what leaders I've worked with before have taught me is give yourself credit for the work that you're already doing, right? So this is a real goal that I have. And so let's actually update this in terms of the goal format, not just the projects list. So quality and safety, and then MTP standardization projects. So let's go over to my performance, my annual goals. So I'm going to fill out the goal category, which I know is quality and safety. And it's called the MTP standardization project. So this doesn't mean much, right? It's just like, oh, there's a goal. It's called a project. What is that? So that's where the SMART phrase comes in. And you can always rename your goals a little bit different than your project. But for this project, the goal is to basically have one best way to run a massive transfusion protocol across all of our entire system, all of our hospitals that actually have patients who might have a massive bleed. And I know that based on this project that I'm doing, I've hosted a workshop already to help figure out that one best way. And our deliverables were standard operating procedure. We made a RACI document. We are creating a technical procedure for some of the more technical folks, etc. So when I think about my SMART goal phrase, I want it to be specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, or relative and time bound, right? So I want to make sure that this is actually something I can actually accomplish. So for me, what I'm going to say is I think this work's going to take the entire year. So I'm going to definitely make it time bound by the end of December. And I don't know if I'm going to have every single hospital rolled out by then, but I would love to have at least a plan for that. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, this is the hard part. It's like, do I want the goal to be creating the process and then implementing, or have everyone implement it by the end of the year? So this is where you can set a goal, but then when you check in on it, you can tweak it a little bit. I always say goals are like vectors. They're supposed to be directional and they're supposed to have some sort of, actionable. They're supposed to go at some sort of speed or cadence. They're not necessarily unchangeable. The vector can change direction at any time. So let's say at all, let's say 10 hospitals at have implemented the new one best way standard MTP code, protocol, and I'm going to say code and protocol by 12/31/26. Okay. Now that leaves it's still specific enough. It's saying they've got to follow the new protocol by a time, but it also doesn't say that, it leaves room for a little bit of wiggle to kind of define what does that actually mean. All right. And then performance metrics. So I always like to have it depends how your company ranks you or how you're rating you. And so for my company, there's exceptional, exceeds, acceptable, below expectations, and then not meeting expectations or needs improvement. I forget what it is. So there's 5. So I always like to plan for acceptable, exceeds, and exceptional, unless I think I'm really going to fail this goal, in which case I won't make it a goal. I don't usually define below or needs improvement, but that's just me. So what I'm going to do is just copy these over from the template. Now, here's what we need to do. We need to define what would an exceptional rating mean? Like if I were to achieve this goal at the acceptable space, what would that be? What would an exceeds rating be? And what would an exceptional rating be? So I think acceptable would be all sites have, let's see, I feel like I'd like to tie in some sort of our key performance indicators to be exceptional. So all sites have implemented the one best way. And then by 12/31. And then I really don't think it's achievable to say that all sites are gonna do this before the end of the year. So I'm not gonna use my date as something to level up this goal, but I think I'm gonna have all sites have so I'm gonna do the acceptable plus all sites have improved in our key performance indicators. So I'm going to say all sites have made improvements in at least one of our KPIs. Right. And so we'll have defined those. For me, it's picking up the first cooler of blood, infusing the patient within a certain amount of time, and then um, there's just a documentation of the blood in our electronic medical records. So if they are improved from baseline in one of the metrics, that would be definitely be exceeds the goal. And then exceptional, let's say all of the metrics. So let's say this would be exceeds plus all sites have made improvements in all of our KPIs. And so again, it doesn't say like we have to be exceeded by 100% or whatever. You can define this. And then the status would be adding notes related to progress. So for me, I probably just like link my projects list here. If this goal is a project. So how you can do that is you can actually, what I would do is let me go back to my performance and I'm going to put link to project and then you can highlight it and then do insert link. And then I know it's under the projects and I'm going to pick my active projects list. And that's good enough for me. That's going to get me to my projects list. And no matter where I put this, it's always going to be there. So that would be how to create an annual goal. Now, for me, I think, again, the year is going to ebb and flow. I'm going to have goals that start at the beginning of the year or projects that start at the beginning of the year, projects that start mid-year, projects that pop up that I wasn't planning on. And I might not be able to solidify all my annual goals right away. But I do think the sooner you can do them, the higher likelihood of you achieving that goal and of you talking about it with your leader. They know you're working on it. They can support you, as well as you having a good grasp on whether or not you're going to meet have a good performance appraisal for the year. So again, just like the active projects list, what you could do is once you create this, like let's say your company doesn't have any other place for you to document this that gives you visibility or your leader visibility. Again, like I've shared with you in other videos, you can go ahead and email a copy of a page, and then send this to your leader ahead of your one-on-one. Then when you have a monthly one-on-one or whenever it is, you can talk about the goals. So maybe this is duplicative because you're going to go over your active projects list and all your goals are there. But if it's not, maybe it's a good place to say, here are the things I'm measuring. Do you see any points where I could be doing better? Should I be looking at anything else? Are these performance metrics acceptable to you? Should I be changing them? Are they easy? Are they too hard? Are they not really something you think I can achieve? So it just sparks a really nice conversation with your leader. So again, how you can use this template is review your goal progress monthly and update the status for yourself and your leader if they find it helpful. And then, like we said in the beginning, annually, professionals are often asked to write self-assessment of their goal progress and annual performance. So you can review your goals using these annual self-assessment template, which I have linked here, and it's down here in the annual dashboard. So it's really good to be kind of thinking ahead, like, okay, at the end of the year, what am I going to have to ask myself? And then work backwards when you're creating your goals. All right, I hope this helps you. Let me know if you like the goal template. If there are other templates you want me to go over next, I'm going to continue doing this series, and you'll find all of the videos of tutorials for the OneNote dashboard here in the playlist, and I will link that as well as put a card to it. The next templates we could go over are the value and impact promotion template. It's wonderful. We can talk more about the joy folder, the wins, the kudos folder. Once we get closer to the end of the month, we'll probably do a March check-in and kind of show you how I would do this whole process and how it links to the goals here and the joy folder and all that. And before you know it, all of this hub is going to really become clear how this is an entire system that you can follow to keep yourself organized and proactive. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you in the next tutorial.